My name is Dr. Aleksandra Augustyniak. I'm a cell biologist by background and I work at Shannon ABC as a postdoctoral researcher. In this video, I would like to introduce you to the flow cytometry technique and show you how it can be used to support your company. Flow cytometry is a technique for the rapid analysis of multiple parameters of individual cells. In flow cytometers, single cells or particles pass through a light source and the equipment analyzes the interaction of the individual cells with the light. The obtained data provide useful information on the distribution of specific characteristics in cell populations. Flow cytometry is a versatile technique that can be used for multiple purposes. Using flow cytometry, for example, we can check if tested sample is toxic to cells. Healthy animal cells are surrounded by a cell membrane, which is a protective barrier. If the tested sample has cytotoxic effect, the continuity of the membrane is broken and dyes can penetrate the cell interior. The flow cytometer uses the signal generated by the dye to assess the number of dead cells in the solution. Flow cytometry allows us to evaluate the effects of specific compounds on selected cell types. Cells can be labeled with dyes that have the ability to recognize specific proteins, and on this basis it's possible to evaluate the bioactivity of the tested products. For example, cytokines are generated in our bodies under the influence of inflammatory factors. If the detection level of these proteins is lower after treatment with tested compound, it gives an information about the anti-inflammatory properties of tested sample. In this way, we can test both single compounds and finished products such as cosmetics or nutraceuticals. Flow cytometry can be also useful for measuring oxidative stress, its effects on cells, and for studying various agents as antioxidants. For this purpose, cells are labeled with an appropriate dye that can emit fluorescence upon contact with reactive oxygen species. The level of fluorescence is determined by the flow cytometer, and on this basis we are able to assess whether the tested sample is effective as an antioxidant. The great advantage of using flow cytometry for this purpose is that it only measures the intracellular fluorescence. This technique yields quantitative data about the number of fluorescence-emitting cells rather than the relative fluorescence of the entire sample. Flow cytometry is also an ideal candidate for validation of new antimicrobial strategies in food formulation, as well as in disinfection or decontamination. In recent years, it has increasingly been applied in the food and dietary supplements industries, particularly for the enumeration of probiotics. I have presented only a brief excerpt of how flow cytometry can help your company in the process of creating a new product or assessing the biological properties of an existing one. If you are a producer of healthcare products, cosmetics ingredients or supplements, and you want to check whether your product may have an anti-inflammatory property or whether it contributes to the protection against oxidative stress, flow cytometry may be the answer to your need. Contact Shannon ABC and I assure you that we will use our knowledge and experience to help your idea to develop.